Today in crypto land, Bitcoin flashes the almighty golden cross. Is it moon time? Japan is pushing for global crypto standards, and it seems that trading giant Ameritrade may be getting into crypto trading. Cool stuff. And we'll be starting off today's video with a quick check of the charts, but first, a PSA from Richard Sherman from the San Francisco 49ers.
Have you lost money in real estate? Have you lost money in stocks? You'll make money in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. So invest intelligently, please. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that, Richard. Now let's get into the charts, guys. This is a pretty big moment right here. This little crossover right here. This is the golden cross. This is the 50-day moving average crossing over the 200-day moving average, which is something that I know a lot of us have been looking for quite a long time. And this is a very bullish indicator signaling that the markets are returning to a position of strength, which I'm super excited about. And seeing this play out is really bringing a lot of restored confidence back into the market. Now, one thing we do have to keep in mind here is that, of course, moving averages are inherently backward looking in nature. I mean, the core of the data is the previous 50 and 200 days. So the golden cross is now really a confirmation that that bullish momentum has been building, has already been happening, rather than a signal guaranteeing that farther price gains are going to happen. Because it is worth pointing out that if we go all the way back to 2015, we did see some pretty interesting things happening back here. So we're going to go hop back over here and take a look at this. So back in 2015, we did see a golden cross happen where we did see that moving average come up, but then it was kind of a fake out. And we did actually come back down to this, death cross over here and had a little bit of a downward movement before we did pick up that trend, which that trend actually ended up being the trend. That was the big start of the big bull run. So that's a really great technical indicator to see actually playing out, but we do still have some really strong areas to make it through. We can see today, of course, the price is here at around 5,500, which we did see this playing out right back here as this sort of more temporary moment of support. We did see, of course, if we go way, way back in history, a double bottom happening here. Now, the thing that we're looking for next is this level right around here. So this is around the 5,900 mark. Again, we did see double bottom here. We did see this lower wick come out here. We did see another double bottom over here, and again some lower wick action here and here. So we have had a lot of support around that 5,900 zone. So that is a really important level that we should be watching out for as our next area that we need to cross over as we bring this health back into the Bitcoin markets as prices do continue to rise. Of course, the real thing is getting over this right here, this 6,000 zone, 6,200, 6,300, right around here. And we've spent so much time ranging right in here. I would love to see a definitive breakout beyond that into, 7,000 or 8,000. And I think once we do clear that 6,000 mark, which is, to be honest, a really big psychological barrier for so many people, is that once we do clear that, I think we're going to see a huge amount of investment pouring back in, as this would be just yet another kind of confirmation that many traders and the big investors are out there looking for. That golden cross, though, I think is really what's kicking off what's going to be our next story, actually. Okay, enough of the charts. That's all really exciting, but let's look at the big picture. Bitcoin futures volume is going wild. The CME has done $320 million in the last 24 hours. Damn, it is no wonder that LedgerX and Bakkt are chomping at the bit to get their futures contracts released onto the market. And by the way, theirs will be Bitcoin settled physically. This volume is incredibly significant because it is a larger volume than the biggest spot price exchange did, which of course was Binance at $232 million. Considering the golden cross, I bet there are a lot of people opening up longs on those futures contracts. There's always going to be shorters, though. Seriously, there's always someone out there who thinks that Bitcoin is going to $1,000. Or maybe going to zero. But anyway, I actually really like to see this. I'm happy that the futures markets are growing so big and so popular because it means that we're actually seeing increased price discovery being played out before our eyes by some of the world's biggest institutions and financial players, which in the long run will help bring in lower volatility and create more mature markets. Okay, let's move on to the next story. Now, one of the biggest headlines today is coming from Ameritrade. It is testing both Bitcoin and Litecoin trading on its brokerage platform through a new but not yet live offering on the Nasdaq. That is pretty big considering that Ameritrade has 11 million client accounts and totaling $1.2 trillion in assets. And the firm also offers custodial services for more than 6,000 independent registered investment advisors. Wowzers. So, you know, they're kind of a big deal when it comes down to it. The firm also says its clients make around 500,000 trades daily. I think this is great for Bitcoin, and actually, to be honest, a really great boost for Litecoin as well, because it has nowhere near the same level of big exposure like Bitcoin does at this kind of more institutional trading level. No, look, at this stage, it is just paper trading, but testing today could lead to real trading tomorrow. The rat just jumped off. Bitcoin rat, what are you doing? Also in exchange news, it seems that Disney could own Bitstamp quite soon as part of a $13 billion equity deal. Disney is currently the front runner in a bid for a 98.6% stake in a company called Nexon, which is South Korea's largest game developer and the second largest online games publisher in the world. Disney, if successful, will have access to Bitstamp via NXC's investment structure NXMH, and the deal would also include South Korean exchange Corbit, in which Nexon has a 65% stake. To be clear though, it is not that Disney is buying this because they want the crypto exchanges, but that they are just part of the deal. Still kind of cool though. What Disney will do with these assets, if anything at all, of course, does remain to be seen. We've had no word from Disney about it at this time. Speaking of exchanges, Japan's FSA has conducted a flash inspection of Huobi and Fisco, keeping those exchanges on their toes. The stated goal was to check consumer protection and legal compliance, as well as check the AML compliance. This is what positive regulation feels like. This is what it looks like. And I know we have this kind of feeling that compliance and regulation are inherently dirty words, but Japan at least seems to be doing it in a very proactive and professional way. I'd of course love to know your thoughts. What do you think about how Japan has been handling its crypto industry? Is it a good thing to see these regulations, or is it a bad thing? Also, Japan is taking the lead on pushing forward global crypto regulations. Japan has prepared a manual of cryptocurrency regulation proposals that it will be presenting to G20 leaders and the titans of global finance at the Tokyo G20 in June this year. And as the host of the event, Japan gets a lot of rights in actually setting the agenda of the event. And since Tokyo strongly opposes the status quo of the current global crypto regulatory scene and the mishmash approach that we're currently seeing, whereby some countries have super strict laws and other countries have almost no regulations at all, it does seem that Japan is looking to resolve this situation. As a reminder, following the massive exchange hacks we did see in Japan, regulations have been significantly tightened, and now exchanges in Japan must obtain operating permits from the FSA in order to operate, which also has the power to conduct extensive on-site audits or even suspend trade if they don't like what they see. Japanese exchanges are also policed by the self-regulating Japanese Virtual Currency Exchange Association, or the JVCEA for short, which works to try and ensure that exchanges comply and are staying ahead of the curve. The key points that Japan wants to see pushed forward at the G20 are specifically focused on systems that protect customer assets, as well as international security protocols and practical systems that provide customers with the information that they need, particularly in the event of a hack, which, as we all know, just seems to happen in crypto land all the time. Now, cryptocurrencies were discussed at the G20 last year with nothing really done on the topic, to be honest, except some kind of vague platitudes about making sure cryptocurrencies are taxed properly. Look, if anyone can make this happen, then it's going to be Japan. As Japan actually cares about the crypto industry, and they are the global leaders of the crypto industry, especially when it comes to regulation of that industry. Japan is basically the equivalent of Bitcoin Batman. The next story also comes out of Japan, and it is a brutal one. Oh, the SoftBank founder Masayoshi's son lost $130 million on his Bitcoin investment. Ouch. I mean, just ouch. That's a lot of money. Apparently, he made a huge investment in Bitcoin at the peak in December 2017 and then sold at a massive loss. Just ow. Now, reportedly, he sold his position in early 2018, but it's not known how much Bitcoin he actually bought, but apparently it was, quite a bit. And in spite of the pain of losing $130 million, I imagine that actually he probably protected a good amount of his liquidity, even though he got in at a bad time, and he did get hurt pretty bad, but he also got out at a decent time, and I have to wonder, did he buy back in? It's also an interesting story because I feel like we think sometimes that, just because you have a lot of money, you're somehow magically gifted in, resisting FOMO or investing at the right time or any of these things. Big money players can make mistakes too. And if you look at the big scene of what's happening right now with the crypto industry, we see a lot of interest from big money players moving in, but we also saw a lot of interest at the time of the bull run when enthusiasm was at its peak. People were throwing giant amounts of money, and this is one example. And of course, we saw lots of different Japanese companies, for example, opening Bitcoin mining operations. So just a reminder that the big guys get hit too sometimes, guys. Also worth remembering when looking at kind of, the big crypto picture is that in a few years' time, people will be crying that they didn't get Bitcoin when it was this cheap. And I do think that the real value of Bitcoin right now is cheap. The market is valuing it at a cheap price because it's very powerful. And people will be asking you, how did you have such foresight to buy Bitcoin back then? How did you know? Why didn't you tell me? The reality is we are telling them. We have been telling them. But, most average retail investors will not pile back into Bitcoin until Bitcoin is worth, $100,000. And then they're all going to FOMO into the top and they're all going to sell the bottom when the correction happens. And the process will repeat itself again and again and again. And by the way, only 396 days until the Bitcoin block reward is cut in half. Ask yourself the question, if the current price of Bitcoin is actually priced in for a 50% reduction in daily supply emission. I don't think that it is, and that's only a year away. And still, in spite of all the good news that I share on a regular basis, there are, of course, still traders out there calling for that magical $1,000 Bitcoin. WTF, guys. I want a hit of whatever those guys are smoking, because it must be good. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, I super appreciate your time. If you haven't checked out Cryptocurrency Explained yet, it is a free 5-hour course. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone about it. You can go to thecryptolark.org. Check out this playlist just here. I also have it over on Udemy. Rat jumped again. It's crazy. I need to get something better to put him up there. A nail. You're getting nailed, Rat. Okay. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed the video, hit a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Long live the blockchain. And peace out till next time.